Well, good evening. Welcome back to Sodi Pop on YouTube. My name is Matt, and this is Chatty with Matty, your source for daily gaming news. Yes, I did switch up the naming there. Thank you for joining me here on Sodi Pop. We will dive right into the news. Lots of things coming up. Ghost of Tsushima, we have a deep dive into the world and the gameplay. A wonderful article was released from IGN this morning. Also, along with that, PlayStation 5 is not kidding around, coming out with some guns blazing. And then, of course, we have some wonderful gameplay again coming out of this time PlayStation, but The Last of Us Part 2, a little bit more details, and tons of other gaming news. I have my drink ready. Let's discuss. So we're going to start off with Summer Game Fest, of course, Jeff Keighley. Now, it seems as if the May announcements are completely done. We scroll down here all the way to the bottom. We see we are in June now, so we are waiting patiently a good week or two. But if we head over to Jeff Keighley's Twitter account, someone asked him, so May announcements are over? This was just a couple hours ago. He says, nope. No, May announcements are not over. Super exciting. This is just heating up. Yes, it seems like a lot of this stuff is scattered all over, but exciting nonetheless if you are a fan of games. We're going to move over next to Moonlighter. Moonlighter just announced a DLC that will be coming for all platforms to celebrate its second anniversary. Be coming on the 29th of May. Go ahead and watch this actual little trailer here. Looks amazing. So Moonlighter, if you haven't experienced it so far, is a game that is based on going down, hunting things, coming back, and selling things in store. It's by 11-Bit Games. And will there be more news coming up on this? Well, it's coming out pretty soon, towards the end of this month. But 11-Bit Games is part of something a little bit larger as far as game announcements here. So we're going to go ahead and move on. If you remember, last week, I did talk about the Guerrilla Collective. The Guerrilla Collective, again, is a collective of a whole bunch of different studios and partnerships. One of them being, first one on the list here, none other than 11-Bit Games right there. The first one, you have Fellow Traveler. Of course, Larian Studios, responsible for some excellent games. Lots of good stuff there. Their stuff is coming at the beginning of June 6th to 8th. Now, if you remember, yesterday we spoke about PlayStation. Their rumored thing was supposed to be June 4th, and it would be moved a couple days either before or back. This may actually come into conflict with Guerrilla Collective's announcement, so we will see that very shortly. Also, in other news, game announcements, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. The DLC content that's being added onto the Definitive Edition is 10 to 12 hours long, called Future Connected. If you don't remember when that was revealed through the Nintendo Direct Mini not so long ago, they did say, hey, it's also coming with a wonderful DLC, 10 to 12 hours. It's like a full game. Awesome if you're into Xenoblade Chronicles. And then, of course, we have a new trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles detailing its combat. So go ahead and check that out on the YouTube page there. Looks to be really fantastic. I'll skip right by that. And, well, thank you so much. If you're watching and you like this content, well, I have a ton more coming, so do me a favor, like, follow, subscribe. It really helps out, really lets people know about my channel that aren't just you. I do appreciate you. Also, click the bell down below. You'll get new video alerts every time I bring them up. All right, moving on. So GameSpot says Call of Duty 2020 will be Black Ops, and yes, it is dealing with the Cold War. Now, they have dealt with the Cold War before in Black Ops, so this is not new, but that will be coming up. I believe that's coming from Treyarch, if I'm not mistaken, one of the three studios that is responsible for Call of Duty. Lego here. So we did announce quite a while ago that Lego will be doing a Mario edition. Some other news into the Lego Mario edition here. There will be different costumes for Mario. So he'll have the builder costume. He'll have the cat costume. He'll also have, I believe, the Tanuki costume. And there'll be a starter pack available later. Unfortunately, sorry, don't have the pictures there, but you can go ahead and look it up. And then Mafia 2 Definitive Edition debuts as a remastered game in the Mafia trilogy. I wanted to discuss this a little bit. So we did have Mafia, the original, being completely remade. Mafia 2 is a remaster, and then Mafia 3 is going to be essentially unchanged. So they are releasing 3 Mafia games. They're releasing Mafia 2 and 3 pretty soon, and then you'll have to wait for the first Mafia until August. So they're kind of going in a backwards order and with varying levels of being remade or retouched. Really weird. I'm not exactly sure what to think about it. I'm excited for these games. These were good games when they came out, so it will be cool to see. I'm most excited for the first one since that has had the most done to it, and they've actually reworked some of the story and expanded it. So I'm excited for it, but just a really weird thing to be done. I'm not sure if another kind of remake package has been done in this way to varying levels for each game. So back on the grind here, we are heading right into The Last of Us Part 2. Now, they did have a gameplay reveal. I'm going to go ahead and show some of that. So the main takeaways from the gameplay, The Last of Us Part 2. So if you played the first one, which I highly recommend, the gameplay was very visceral, was very intense. They are doubling down on the survival aspect of it. Now, you're playing as Ellie instead of Joel this time. Ellie, smaller character, way more nimble than Joel was. Joel was an older guy in the first game, obviously going to be older now, but Ellie can have a lot more traversal. You'll see her jumping here. They added a jump button. They added a prone position, which you're crawling around on the ground, and you can be hidden in tall grass. You won't be completely hidden though, so it's just another way, and you can access all of your menus from that prone position. In addition to that, so we'll see it here, crawling on the grass, they added the ability to climb under cars. In the first gameplay reveal trailer, we did see Ellie climbing under cars, but because of that, they have made the AI a lot smarter. So eventually they'll find you under cars, drag you out, try and destroy you. And this gameplay, because they've added so many new features, you can also dodge. So if someone does grab you, that you can dodge, unlike Joel, where you just had, hopefully you had a shiv if a clicker got you. If you had a shiv, you could get away. If not, you were done for with the clicker. But there is a much bigger world here as far as what they're building. So they went into detail. They're making the world a lot more vertical. They are actually giving Ellie a lot quicker speed. The gameplay areas are a lot bigger because they don't want to just have gameplay area, then you go into combat arena, gameplay area, combat arena. They're trying to make it much more intertwinable. So it's bigger, much more visceral. Ellie has way more tactics. She's not as strong as Joel, so it might even be a little bit scarier to play as her because she can't just hit someone off of her. So it sounds really amazing. Now, because the gameplay world is bigger, they said you can really take your own path. Exploration will be a big part of this. You'll get rewarded by finding things to survive. Survive, of course, is the name of the game here. And you can miss fully scripted events. You can miss full things in the game because they want it to make you feel like the game is really yours. You discovered this thing on your own, which is cool. I love it when games do that, where it's an RPG or something and you can miss full characters. You know, Final Fantasy VII has a couple of those. A lot of the Final Fantasy games have things where you can miss full characters, full story arcs. That is exciting. That gives some replayability. Maybe you play the game, find out the full story, and be like, oh, what did I miss? Oh, there's amazing stuff. I'm going to go back in and play it, try it out. And you cannot receive all combat upgrades in one playthrough. So you have to decide what is the playstyle you want to use and go in that direction, because there aren't enough points to receive in one playthrough for you to get everything to max out Ellie. Sounds really, really awesome. I'm excited about this game. I'm sure you are too, or hopefully you are. If not, well, I don't know. I'm not going to get you excited then. On to what I think is amazing, Ghost of Tsushima. So the Ghost of Tsushima, their 18-minute gameplay trailer was released in the State of Play through Summer Game Fest just last week. A lot of conversation about it. Very beautiful open world. People were saying, hey, the combat, and I was saying this, the combat is hard to get a feel for what exactly is happening. Are you just button mashing? I listened to a few podcasts because I wanted to hear other people's opinions on it after I had my own, that they were saying, well, it's probably just going to be like a Batman combat where you're button mashing, you're going to hit block and it just looks cool. It's easy. That apparently is not the case. So this IGN Nordic article details Ghost of Tsushima. Creative director says combat is very challenging. I wanted to dive into this. This is awesome. From the looks of it, so you are playing as Jin. He is a samurai. You're going to start out the game as a samurai. You have to start on taking tactics. You can play the entire game as a straight up samurai, so very noble, the way of the Bushido, but you are also eventually transitioning into the Ghost. The Ghost of Tsushima will be kind of this otherworldly, hero-like character for the islanders of Tsushima and a villain to the actual Mongols that are invading the island. This is Batman as heck. Like, super Batman. Some people aren't going to agree with your tactics. They're saying there isn't a morality system, but you will have allies that may or may not agree with your tactics and may even turn against you because you're not using the Bushido code. Sounds awesome. If you remember the previous games that they made, such as Infamous, you could either be good or bad. You couldn't get all the things in one playthrough, and that would affect actually the story. So you would have to do 2 playthroughs as either kind of good or bad. I personally didn't like the either or system. I never have liked those. So this sounds right up my alley. But those Infamous games were excellent. They designed some really good open worlds. So you can succeed as a samurai, you can play as the Ghost, and essentially become the Samurai Batman. Jin as a Ghost proves to be hard on him throughout the story. Combat is difficult. I wanted to go through this in particular. So even though we saw some slicing through enemies in State of Play, I assume that this player is very skilled and that is eventually gameplay will be harder on us. Nate completely agreed with me. Quote, "We are trying to make grounded game in that sense, so a couple of blows from an enemy will kill you." Awesome. Just side note, Bushido Blade. Think of Bushido Blade. So you are honestly, like, it is intense to battle with a sword. All right, back to it. The game is very challenging. We have 3 words to describe the combat: mud, blood, and steel. We absolutely honor the lethality of the sword. We watch samurai movies and people go down with 1 or 2 strikes, and that is embedded inside the combat. Beating the Mongols in battle will be hard, but it's that challenge that makes it feel alive and the victory rewarding. You can't just run into a camp and fight 5 people at the same time. You'll get overwhelmed and die. That is awesome. What we saw is in the trailer is a guy running to the camp. He fought 1 or 2 people. There's someone shooting arrows at him the whole time. He had to block those arrows and he was successful. So obviously someone who's very skilled at this game. People are obviously going to do samurai only rundowns of this game. It's going to be excellent. I hope it feels good. Obviously that's going to be a main decider in whether the combat is fantastic or not. But I'm super excited to hear, yes, Bushido Blade, we got it. Back to it. I wish we showed the duels during the State of Play. So they showed individual battles, but they didn't show duels. Engaging combat and succeeding won't be easy, and you probably have to use everything you have to win a fight. The most importantly, play smart, sucker punch once to honor the trait from old samurai movies. Now, it sounds awesome. I kind of distilled a bit of this into what we can expect from Ghost of Tsushima. So, morality system is gone. There are people that can become rivals because they don't agree with your way of Bushido. Jin is always a samurai and can transition to Ghost, so you don't have to pick one playstyle or another. It'll depend on how you want to play. Also, the equipment that you decide to wear, so you can go seamlessly between the two. There's big in size. So, the next part here, the island is big. It's their biggest game world they ever created. And it's also their densest game world, meaning there is stuff to find. They said that, yes, there will be obviously stuff for people who want to follow along the story. There's stuff for them. The story is going to be great, but they wanted to reward exploration. This game is just as much about exploration as it is about the story. One of their inspirations, they said, was Breath of the Wild. That is fantastic. That was one of the most fun parts about the game. You'd see something in distance, go to it. It'd be rewarding. It'd be cool. Now, Breath of the Wild did lack eventually, you'd find a Korok seed. Cool. Another Korok seed. Cool. There were a few wonderful surprises in that game, and it stayed very magical, I would say, all the way throughout. One of my favorite games. Ghost of Tsushima, the island, it draws inspiration from that. I'm very excited about it. This is big in size. They wanted to accommodate the focus players, and then the combat is difficult. I'm pumped. This game really has jumped on the radar for me from, okay, it seems really cool. I might check it out. we saw the gameplay trailer, looked really good. And then I was really confused on how the combat worked. And then after reading this from IGN Nordic, I mean, this sounds awesome. Exactly right up my alley. I'm curious how the combat feels. That's going to be the next question. But open worlds that are really meant to explore and find things. They said you will, naturally find things. You might find a bird or fox and you follow it. That is a big part of it, and Jin will get stronger because of it. It's not just a little collectible that you find every now and then again. So they really reward you for exploring. That is awesome. I'm super excited. This really jumped up as far as my excitement from this particular article. All right into Sony. So Sony is not playing around. As I mentioned before, Sony isn't just betting on the PlayStation 5. This is coming from VentureBeat. Of course, they have some really wonderful news on it. So, quote, Sony CEO Kenshiro Yoshida spelled out Japanese company plans in video games during a speech at Sony's corporate strategy meetings related to its year-end earnings report. In that speech last night, he noted that the company will invest heavily in first-party games on the PlayStation 5 that deliver immersive and seamless experience for gamers. Awesome. All great news. That means the gamers don't have to worry about whether Sony will continue to invest in big exclusives like The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima for the PS5, which launches during the holidays. But Yoshida said that Sony's gaming feature goes beyond what players can do on their couch playing the latest Sony hardware. It is also trying to reach more people through cloud gaming, remote gaming, and mobile experiences. As you remember in the story yesterday, we talked about how their PlayStation Now, which is their streaming service, has reached 2.2 million subscribers, up from 1 million subscribers the previous quarter, because they cut the price in half, so they did a really good job with that. Back to the article. What's interesting to me is that Sony is thinking more expansively about games, and it isn't just focused on PS5 for its feature. We've known this for a while, but it's informative to see that it reinforced Sony's relatively new CEO, who took the helm 2 years ago and doesn't speak that often. In the year ended in March 31st, my birthday, Sony reported $21.34 billion in revenues for its game division with $2.87 billion of operating income. The PlayStation 4 has reached 100 million units sold. It's 110 now. Units sold to date, and 94 million active monthly users whose PlayStation Network online gaming. So that's just more stats. Really awesome. If you remember, they will be having the Horizon Zero Dawn will be coming to PC, so it'll be interesting to see if they release more stuff on PC. I highly doubt it. They're going to really heavily focus on PS5 and developing for that system in particular. You have that special SSD in there. PCs won't necessarily be able to replicate it. You'd maybe need to remake a game for a PC, so we'll see. Sony's PS5 will have dramatically better computational performance measured in teraflops compared to PS4, Yoshida said, and he also touted the SSD, which is faster than a hard drive and will enable Sony to make games that are 100 times faster than the previous generation. That will immerse gamers in huge worlds with seamless transitions from scene to scene. Long load time should be a thing of the past, which is awesome. Exactly what I want to hear, and I'm sure you want to hear. Sony is also investing in more haptic game controller to give you good touch feedback, as well as 3D audio, so you can sense what is happening around you in the virtual world. Remember the haptic feedback? IGN actually had an interview with Mike Bithell, and he kind of revealed, he didn't know if he was supposed to reveal, but that you can feel individual raindrops from the haptic feedback. Will that really go, in any which way? Will that be important? I don't know. We'll see. It remains to be seen. That's something that I am excited for. So continuing on with Sony, they are all in, great, cool. Jeff Grubb on Twitter. So this guy, again, from VentureBeat, he says, I wouldn't expect console prices until August when Intel, Nvidia, and AMD launch their similar products. They wait until the last possible minute to set a price. It's one thing they can still change. But of course, consoles rely more on pre-orders, so can't wait forever. So wait until August. That's most likely when the price will happen. It is pretty normal for the reveal to happen and then the price not to come until later. But we could see it in June, with this actual reveal. Depends on the price. If the price is like $800, they're going to hold on to that for a while until people maybe do it. I think it's better to get it out sooner so people have the ability to save and kind of sweeten up to what the price is. On Reddit. So again, continuing Jeff Grubb, the PlayStation 5. According to Jeffrey Grubb, Sony wants to limit the amount of third-party games at the PS5 reveal event which aren't actually running on the PS5. So, the PS5 reveal event, they want to show stuff that is actually running on the PS5 so you can say this is actual gameplay, this is what's happening. Third-party titles aren't just showing some high-end PC. Super smart. I think gamers have become very jaded over the course of time with, we have things that are running on high-end PCs. It's not going to really look like that. We have also gameplay or the engine announcement. Unreal Engine 5 looked phenomenal running on a PlayStation 5. So many people are skeptical that anything is going to look anything close to like that because running on a PS5, there wasn't any combat scenarios. So can things actually look like that? We still don't know, but it's not some theoretical engine that's running on a PC that is much higher end or pre-built specifically for that type of engine. So we are seeing hopefully actual gameplay and things. When we see them, we'll actually be able to play them like that. The comparison will be much better. So going into Resetera, Jeff Grubb actually said on Resetera, someone asked, hey Jeffrey, have you have any update on the games jumping ship? Are there a lot or just a handful? So if you remember from last week or a couple of days ago, the PS5 event he said was going to be really big, not as big as it was initially planned. And then someone asked him, well, is it that EA and everything is just going to go do their own thing, so that's why it's not going to be as big? He said, yes, a lot of these third-party developers are now doing their own shows, so PlayStation will by default be a little bit smaller, and this is asking about that. All these developers are jumping ship. Is it huge? He replies, jumping ship, quote unquote, isn't putting it the right way. Sony just wants to limit the use of the disclaimer, this game is running on PC environment, but will be optimized for the PS5. So again, just showing that they want to push, this is the PS5, you can trust that it's the PS5. When you buy it, things will look exactly and play exactly like this. Awesome stuff. PS5 is really heating up. Ghost of Tsushima looks amazing. All right, guys, well, that would do it. There's a lot to cover for the news for today. Again, my name is Matt. This is Chatty with Matty right here on Sodi Pop on YouTube. If you want to see anything else, please let me know. Again, comment down below, like, follow, subscribe. It really helps the channel. Of course, the YouTube algorithm always needs a little push in the right direction. Of course, I'm on the 3Ts and IG, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram with Sodi Pop Media, always going to be on there. So if you want to talk, let me know. Also, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll be playing Rocket League. Also, need to check out not Roblox but Minecraft for a wonderful viewer here. So please stay tuned for that. Again, my name is Matt. Have a wonderful day. Remember,
Be yourself
and eat a cookie. Bye.